Bhagavato Harahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Buddha, the blessed, noble, and fully self-enlightened one. So this is just an opportunity really to just revise the principles of our meditation. You know, why do we do it? And how do we do it? And I'm aware that there are people in the hall that haven't heard anything about this or very little. So, and also that people have been at it longer than me, so try and get a balance just to what we say. The Buddha himself, remember, began in a position that we are, you know, searching for happiness. And that's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to be happy, for heaven's sake. And at the time when he finally broke through what he called the delusion, the basic ignorance that we live under, he was able to point to 3 ways in which we can investigate our experience and to correct the way we are looking at things, the way we're relating to things. You could say that our basic problem is one of relationship. He talked about them as the 3 characteristics of existence. So in the meditation practice we did, the first thing is to really begin to get close to this idea of impermanence and what that actually means in terms of a direct experience. So it's not as though that comes as a great shock to anybody that things arise and pass away, and you know, it's not as though, generally speaking, people are not aware that the seasons do change and that. But it's really turning that inward towards ourselves and to recognize that we are in a process of change. Yeah? And that the change is not simply something that's changing shape, like you might take a piece of clay, turn it into a saucer, screw it up and then turn it into a cup. It's actually radical. Things are dying and passing away. And the great exemplar of that, of course, is our own bodies. Every cell is arising, dying, and passing away. I mean, we don't experience that. At least I haven't. I haven't experienced the death of a cell. But I'm quite aware that, in fact, cells are arising and passing away. And it's that ability to really go into ourselves and see that all the experience that we're having is in this process of coming into being and then passing out. Yeah? And that the mind, with its conceptual ability, draws us into an idea of continuity. So there is this feeling in me that I've always been me since the day I was born. You know, my body changes, but not me. Yeah? I mean, my thoughts have changed. I don't think like a 3-year-old, I think. Not anymore. But I haven't changed. I don't have the same emotions as a child, but I haven't changed. See? There's always this feeling that there's a me inside all this, which isn't changing. It's absolutely steady. And somehow I anchor myself to that. And when I actually investigate it, and I begin to describe what this me is, you know, what do I end up experiencing? Okay? So I'm turning into myself, and I observe that everything I'm experiencing is passing away. But I still have this sense of me, the observer. Huh? Somehow I've retreated out of the body, out of the emotions, out of the mind, and I've found this other place within myself that I experience as the feeler or the experiencer or the knower. And it's sometimes very strong that, oh, this is me. I'm the one who knows. Huh? Now from that position we're quite privileged because we can at least abstract ourselves from these other identities that we've had. So we've had the identity of the body, Now, these days, it's very difficult to go back to that very early childhood state where you are the body. But we do occasionally sort of get that. For instance, when was the last time you trapped your finger in a door? See, for that one moment, you are the body. Huh? It's like it's a wonderful, complete moment of pain. There is only pain. Then, of course, you shoot out of it, and suddenly there's some body feeling the pain. There's an objectivity comes to it. But at least there we can sort of grasp what it is to be a self that is just the body, as a baby is supposed to be. I can't remember, you see. Then there's the emotional self, which is much easier to get lost into. You know, suddenly I am angry. There's no separation. I just blow it, you know, bang the doors and all that sort of stuff. Or I panic and I just become that fear. Or I'm depressed. I associate with, I identify with in a total way that this is me, right? Occasionally I'm happy, which is wonderful, see? And then and being happy, being joyful, you then of course get that sense of loss when it disappears. But there's this self which attaches itself to an emotion, which defines itself as I am happy. I and happiness are the same. I and anger are the same. Yeah? But here in meditation what we discovered is that there is anger, there is depression, there is happiness. Somehow I've detached from it. Now this word detachment, that's what you'll get in the literature. It gives it a certain coldness. Another word that you might find used is non-attachment, which gives it a sense of, not this wanting to push away or a coldness to it. It's just there's a sense of separateness from the emotion that you're feeling. And then with thoughts, these are even more difficult, as we discover in our meditation. Suddenly I'm thinking. There's no objectivity to it. I'm just lost in a dream sequence. I'm just lost in a whole flow of thoughts. And suddenly I come out of it, you see, by which time I can only note what has actually happened. I can't note it while it's happening, because I'm lost in it. And in that moment I've become the intellectual self, the thinking self. So we're constantly moving from these definitions of a self. Huh? And in meditation we're finding this other place where this observation post, which one writer happily called it. I'm trying to think of the name of the book now. It's Nyanaponika. Somebody know it? Nyanaponika. The Heart of Buddhist Meditation. It still remains a classic, that book. Yeah? And we're finding this other place within ourselves from which we can observe these things, and we're observing that they're arising and passing away. But in so doing, we've also found a space. There's also a space between, a sense of distance from what we're actually experiencing within ourselves, right? And that sense of space is the not self, not me, not mine. So often you get this confusion in the teaching where we think the Buddha is making some sort of metaphysical statement. There is no self, there is no body. But when you look at his actual teaching in the scriptures, it's just a way of beginning to realize what or who or whatever it is that we really are. And we're doing it by pushing away, by making an object of everything within us. Now, as soon as something becomes an object, it obviously can't be the subject. Huh? And that pushing away. So when I look at my hand, I'm still attached to it, yeah? But that objectivity means that it can't be me. It can't be that which knows.